Hi folks, thanks for taking time out to join us here for this week's Tiger Bites, bringing you all the news, views and interviews from Glasgow Speedway. I'm Derek Smith, joined as ever to cover off all things happening in the world around Glasgow Speedway by Speedway Star correspondent, Glasgow correspondent, Brian Copeland. Good evening to you, Brian.
Good evening, Derek. Yep, glad to join you for another packed show this evening.
Yes, indeed, Brian. Lots to cover off tonight. And I think before we go any further, let's turn immediate attention, Brian, to the news that broke last night. And there's been lots of discussions on social media and elsewhere around the Speedway Control Board's ruling, which was announced last night in favour of Glasgow. And that follows the enforced abandonment of Tiger's visit to Redcar last week at Heat 9, where the Tigers 8 points ahead. It's a raw subject, and I fully appreciate and understand that if you're of a Redcar disposition, then you certainly won't be pleased with the ruling. And what's your own thoughts, Brian? Obviously, a sensitive subject. Potentially, it's still a live subject and subject to further appeal and further dialogue within the sport. But I guess fundamentally, Brian, it doesn't do the sport too many favours.
Yeah, I think, probably both the abandonment and the subsequent ruling is, no one, it's not an ideal position. No one would choose to have things go that way. I do personally feel as though it's, shown a little bit of common sense in the ruling, in that, even had there been another race, even had there been no score from either side in another race, we would still have got to 10 heats with Glasgow 8 ahead. And although it's some may see it to be harsh on Redcar, I also think it was harsh on Glasgow being 8 points up, and had the race gone ahead without further incident, we would have been 13 points ahead by the close of Heat 10. So I do think that would have it would have been harsh on Glasgow to have to go and rerun that full thing as well. Essentially being 13 points up if you take Heat 10 into account.
I guess, Brian, there's suggestions that there's ramifications for the sport given the decision which has been reached now by the Speedway Control Board. But conversely, there was probably ramifications for the sport had that decision not been reached, and it's probably not a win-win result, or a win-win outcome wasn't at all likely given the contrasting views and opinions. And you and I need to be a little bit sensitive to this. We neither of us were in attendance at Redcar last Thursday night, but pleased to say we are joined by a man who was very much in attendance last Thursday. Welcome, Stewart Dickson. Good evening, Stewart.
Evening, guys. How are you doing? All right?
Thanks for joining us, Stewart. We know you're out and about tonight. You're not able to join us by video link, but thanks for taking time out to dial in and speak to Brian and I. Stewart, first of all, if you don't mind, your own thoughts, I guess, on the SCB ruling that was announced last night.
Obviously, we're delighted to get the 4 points after being ahead after the 9 races, and we were going to get a 5-0 with Heat 10 if it had been run. So we feel that the justice was done, because we were going to get a 5-0, which is 13 points in front, which, as far as we're concerned, would have put it into another saleable week. We had 4 riders at the time who were unbeaten on the night. And for that point of view, we feel that we were going to be all the winners on the night, for a result point of view. So for that point of view, we feel that that was the right call. Yeah.
By that stage last Thursday, Stuart, obviously the Glasgow lads had got themselves into that unassailable position potentially, but even worst case scenario in heat number 10, had the absolute worst thing happened, it could have been it would have been a 0-0 as a worst case, and the Tigers would still have been 8 points ahead after heat 10.
Yeah, definitely, that's correct. Even if that had been the case, you said where they get 2 engine failures and heat 10 had been run, we'd have still won with 8 points, which would have gave us the 4 points, and the meeting we could have been declared the result then. It was unfortunate the way things came to pass, you know what I mean? And I don't think there was any winners on the night. That's for sure. There was a very big crowd in the stadium, one of the biggest I've seen in Redcar for a good few years, and it was just a shame the way it all ended up. Yeah.
Stuart, when you read through the ruling by the Control Bureau, do you feel that the rules have been applied as they state by the book?
Well, I think what they've done is they've looked at it and said, well, the Heat 10, it was trying to be run. There was a running of it, and I think Jason Garrett fell off, and then I think it was the third attempt at it. So it had a couple of goes at it. The fact that there was no Redcar riders present in it, I was looking for the race to be awarded. I've got to be honest with you, when I just felt, the way when Corey Garcia got excluded, I mean, I just felt common sense. You award the race, nobody wants to see two riders just toddling around sort of thing. And we, but I know there was obviously repairs and such like to be done. So the way it worked out, I think the emotions were running high on both sides, and I don't think it was easy for the man in the middle. That's for sure.
Stuart, it's clearly an emotive subject, and the SCB ruling has fallen in favour of Glasgow. We've been awarded the 4 points, and I suppose from a Redcar point of view, trying to be very objective about it, they potentially haven't accepted closure of the issue just yet. So to some extent, it may still be a live issue, as I suggested a few moments ago. Presumably, a lot of what you observed in person and the other members of the Glasgow management who were in attendance haven't come to public light yet, and perhaps that's not necessary. But given what you've seen, I'm not asking you, I'm not trying to put you on the spot or put you in an awkward situation, but given what you've seen, you feel presumably the correct decision has been arrived at.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think at any time. I got interviewed by a couple of different parties. The Redcar local paper interviewed me as well. So there was different things, and when you get interviewed, the reporters can be very selective and what comments when you get interviewed, they can obviously highlight certain things. That's when the covers are doing jobs. I mean, at no time did I question that Corey Garcia wasn't injured or anything like that. It was just, as I said, that when he got, it was a spectacular crash with him and Richard Lawson. And as he walked by across the centre green, I was walking to see how the French repaired Richard Lawson and Pepsi Corey, how you doing? And he just gave us a thumbs up, not fine sort of thing. So, and then obviously I was concerned to see about the track. There was obviously major damage to the air fence, and when I spoke to their promoter at the time, he said that 4 air fence panels were demolished, and they only had 3, which is they had 3 to repair it with the problem straight away. The referee then made a phone call to the SCB track inspector, who then said if that was the case, that you would need to take one away from entering one of the corners. That's the way it would be. When they were told this, all of a sudden there was only 3 air fences that were damaged and not the 4 originally. So I was also told there was about 20 feet worth of mesh fence that was damaged, and they didn't have any mesh fence to repair the stadium. When I got to the mesh fence, there was maybe about 4 to 6 feet of it damaged. So straight away I thought we're maybe going to struggle to get this fixed in time. In fairness, when they realised that it wasn't just as bad as first thought, the guys cracked on and got the job fixed pretty decent. We managed to score some touch times. I thought we were all ready to go, and then we believe Corey Garcia was advised to take a trip to the Netherlands to get checked over, and he was in there for quite a period of time. And if you were standing in the Redcar pits, you would have seen about 20 people standing in front of the ambulance to make sure there was no entry to get anywhere near the ambulance. It was quite a sight, whether they were all checking on his well-being or to make sure that nobody got anywhere near the ambulance. It's open to your own opinion on the matter, but there was a wee bit unsavoury. But as I say, at no point in time for the question that Corey was never not injured or not hurt. I just thought the timing of it was a bit odd. But I think, I've kept it covered and I've never shied away, but I'll always tell things as the truth. And Corey was at Glasgow on Sunday. We seen him, he was in Richard Lawson's pit, joking away, and he said, okay. And again, that's the most important thing. Corey and Richard walked away. And there was no bitterness. I just said what I felt. On Wednesday morning, I had sent an email to Kevin Keys. Then, I think Tuesday, in fact, it was Tuesday morning, basically saying that we would be getting ready to come down a week on Thursday for maybe a restaging, because that was the only blank date they had. Because and to make that aware that Glasgow were ready to cooperate in a rearranging date. So I wasn't trying to twist it, I was just being honest. And I think that's something that should be noted as well, that Glasgow were ready to cooperate. And the decision was made by the SB, and I think both clubs should accept it and now move on.
Thank you for the insight, Stuart. Appreciate it.
And Stuart, does that mean that the SCB decision, has that been made independently of any? There's not been any appeal or anything from the club?
No, we didn't have any grounds to appeal. We kind of checked that out on that last Thursday night sort of thing. Obviously, you're kind of, you're winning and you're saying yourself that you're kind of looking to get a result sort of thing. It's the same with other teams, and I know you get that it's always riders come first, riders second, and I can understand that, but it's strange when other teams are pushing for a result and the shoes on the other foot. I can assure you, and you don't hear so much the paramount of safety when the shoes on the other foot. Because I've been there, I can assure you, and sometimes as much as that is the biggest thing, it can sometimes get overlooked, or you try and kind of say, well, can you sit there now for 15 minutes till we get last couple of races in, and then we'll get you attended to. And it does happen in the sport, it does go on, and don't let him kid you on that it doesn't, I can assure you.
Stuart, the appeal process itself is obviously in place, and it's as independent and as objective as Speedway allows that appeal process to be, I guess. And obviously the Speedway Control Board is that sort of monitoring body of the sport. You've been on the receiving end of some unsuccessful appeals over the years, and is it a case of you win some, you lose some?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we've had some, as you say, and it's not worked in our favour. I can understand Redcar's frustration. I mean, on the night they were weakened, I think, straight away. Just with Jonas B. Anderson not been there, and maybe Ellis Pert's not been there, and they obviously maybe seen, what happened. I mean, and let's be honest, nobody goes out to cause a crash, and if you just don't know what's going to happen with injuries and such like. But they maybe seen it as an opportunity to have a full team and get another go at us, which is just normal. They're entitled to do that, as it could have been with us as well. So, but as I say, sometimes it works in your favour, sometimes it works against you. We were very, very good last Thursday, but I did come back to the saying that the bottom line is, Coy seems fine, Richard seems fine, and again, I came away thinking that I was a bit disappointed on the night. Kind of almost accepted that things had went our way. I mean, I gave my opinion on it, my honest opinion, but I left it at that, and I just ready to move on with it, which I was doing.
Yeah, well, just a final word on that one. For now, Redcar have issued a statement off the back of the decision, saying that they're horrified by the decision, and just sort of showing a little bit of dismay, and saying that they'll be seeking advice before deciding on a course of action. So I'm sure it's not the last we've heard of that one, but perhaps ramble on for a few days yet. But just moving on from that, Stuart. Obviously, we had a job to do on Sunday against Berwick, and a fairly professional performance from the team.
Yeah, I think so. It was, as you say, I think it was a pretty professional performance from the guys. Our top three done their jobs again. Aaron Summers, Richard Lawson, Richie Worrell. I mean, I know Richie paid 10 before, and he was slightly disappointed, but he still got paid 10 to 4 wides, which is still a great return. 2 second strings. I mean, like Nick Luna paid 9. One back rate. Dan Dooley had 2 race wins. I mean, and obviously Jack Smith had his best return so far with it. But I know Top Perry his best day. There's a couple of wee issues which we'll keep to ourselves, you know, sort of thing. Just things will be quite good for him, sort of thing. But overall, we got 54 points home. Against, I would say, Sunday, very excited to. Nick Morris was very good, and the young boy Etheridge proving that maybe Edinburgh have made a bit of a mistake and not giving the boy a bit more time. He certainly looks as if he's found his feet in British Speedway, and I'm very pleased. He seems a nice young lad, and he certainly battled away very well. So they gave us a decent match, but I think we were always comfortable. It was a comfortable evening for us, yeah.
Stuart, I'm possibly speaking on behalf of the majority of Tigers fans on Sunday night who will have made their way home, reflecting in particular some delight in the performance of Jack Smith. He looked a much improved rider in his first couple of rides on Sunday night.
Yeah, I think everybody knows sports speedway, like many sports, is such a confidence sport, and he made a couple of decent gates, and when he managed to get in front of Jai Etheridge and E4, and it gave him something to race for. You could see he was determined to hold on to the paid win, because obviously it was his first one in the colours, and everybody, you could see the reaction from the crowd. Everybody's wanting them to do well. That's the sort of club we are. You know, we're sitting by the riders, sitting by the boy. We want to see him do well, and it was very pleasing to see the smile on his face when he came in. He's a lovely boy, he's a lovely family, and you know, the club's been patient with him. We've not put a lot of pressure on him, and it was very pleasing to see him get that. And I think, as you said, the supporters were as much as pleased as young Jack was, and his picture, yeah.
And finally, Stuart, looking ahead to this weekend, it's a double header against Workington. You know, guys like Craig Cook and Thomas Jorgensen going up against our guys. We've already seen this season what that can mean. You know, usually means fireworks in terms of the quality of the racing. More to come on that front over this weekend?
Yeah, definitely. You obviously Ty Proctor and James Sargent got a bit of action, obviously Glasgow on Sunday as well, and they'll be back again. So I've not done them any harm. We obviously will go there on Saturday looking to get something. They're a decent side and they are the team who's closer than anybody else so far at Glasgow this season. So we'll certainly not be treating them lightly. We didn't the last time either, but they were decent opposition. I mean, and Craig Cook, you know, but they've proved that they're more than just a one-man team. I know Matt Williamson has moved from reserve into the main body team. He's started excellently. I think he must have put on, you know, nearly 3 points on his average. Something he started really well. So James Sargent moves into reserve. It remains to be seen whether he'll have the same scoring power that Matt Williamson's had at the bottom end. But they should be tasty. And if we remember, Aaron Summers raced against Craig Cook at Ashfield a while back. Earlier in the season was one of the highlights and one of the best races we've seen. So, you know, you're getting with Craig Cook, but as you rightly say, Jorgensen, Proctor, other guys that can cause us problems, yeah.
Stuart, we look forward to seeing the red and white hordes down at Workington on Saturday night and returning, of course, to Ashfield on Sunday. Tapes up at 3 o'clock against the Comets. Stuart, thanks for allowing us to break into your evening. Appreciate you going over some fairly sensitive subjects in terms of the Redcar decision and meeting last Thursday. Appreciate your time, Stuart. Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys. See you after. Cheers now. Bye-bye.